Hey, Coach. Appreciate you taking the time today.
Appreciate you guys having me on for another week. I know you guys are sick of my
We'll get
face.
we'll get started here with Mike Kay and then John McMullen.
Hey, Mike, two questions for you. How many text messages did you exchange with the 49ers after they won yesterday and kind of helped you guys on your way to get into the playoffs? And any interesting conversations come out of that with D'Amico Ryans? Also, what have you learned about yourself as a coordinator in your first year? Like maybe you learned about yourself as a teacher and as a coach since you got here.
In terms of the first question, I really haven't. I think Richard Hightower and Matthew Harper, they text me at like, I guess 1 a.m. their our time, just saying congrats. I really didn't text them anything. Obviously, we were still going off our win. Pretty proud about that. Then kind of just relaxing and I kind of outside of football, I like to kind of decompress and just stay away from it. Maybe watch something else. Curb Your Enthusiasm, Yellow Jackets. But then the second question, I guess, learning about myself, I guess, as a first year coordinator is a really good question. I really haven't thought about it since still going through it. But I think it's just, adapting even more from what I've learned from the former guys I've worked with, Dave Phipp, Richard Hightower, Darius Swinton, and kind of just evolving it to the personnel I have on this team right here. So it's very much still fluid, and I keep telling myself if I think I've figured it out, I'm pretty much just lying to myself. So every day is a new opportunity, a new learning lesson, and I'm just very grateful for the opportunity to still be to have this title right here. But there's a lot more to accomplish in this season with this team.
Go ahead, John and Chris Franklin.
Hey, Michael. Good choice with Kerr, by the way, to decompress. How's Sean doing, number one, and Sean Bradley, and sort of that? Was there a silver lining when you don't have guys like Sean and Andre, and you got to rely on other core guys? Is there a silver lining to that in a game like Washington?
Yeah, and first of all, it's always, when you hear something, news in terms of a person getting in an accident, you just worry about their health. And, Sean, he texted me on Saturday saying sorry, but the first thing I text him back is like, in this game is minute compared to your health or something that has to do with your family or something like that. So I'm just happy nothing serious happened to him and he's still fairly in good health for the most part. Obviously, being in an accident shakes everybody else up. Then in terms of the other guys, it just shows, what special teams is all about. It shows that you have to adapt and get ready, and it just shows throughout the week, regardless of the opponent, you got to get everybody ready to go out there and perform. And I thought the guys that we did bring up that had to play, they did a really good job in terms of staying within themselves and not trying to be someone who they aren't, and using their best attributes. And obviously, it paid off, especially for JaCoby coming down on that kickoff. DeAndre Carter is a very good kickoff returner. I think he's like second in the league in yards per kickoff return. And JaCoby, he did what he did. He's an athletic linebacker, ran down there, and it took all 10 other guys to help him create that tackle. So it's just one of those things where we're always going to be ready regardless of the situation. And like I alluded to last week with the pandemic and COVID-19, you got to have everybody ready because you never know when anybody's going to get popped. And I thought those two guys, primarily Carey and JaCoby, did a fine job yesterday.
Go ahead, Chris, and then Rube.
Hey, Mike, speaking of JaCoby, how much has he improved through the special teams aspect since he first came in first through training camp to the part where he was able to contribute yesterday?
Yeah, I mean, it's kudos to JaCoby. I know a lot of guys in this league, when they get drafted, they never want to be cut. Nobody in this league wants to be cut, obviously. And they had the injury in training camp and everything, so he kind of set back in terms of that. But I think JaCoby just keeps getting better and better, and I think him seeing other players do it 15 weeks ahead of him and just showing what you have to do to stay in this league and keep getting better week in, week out, whether that's Patrick Johnson or Sean Bradley or even Alex Singleton and TJ, who before they became starters was playing a lot of special teams. So it's kudos to the linebacking room, kind of paving the way and showing these younger guys, hey, this is how you stick around in the league. And I think he keeps getting better and better. And with anybody, regardless of what you do, the confidence and knowing that you belong is going to take him a long way. And I think it just proved to himself that he does belong not only on this team but in this league to help out.
Go ahead, Ruben, then Zach.
What did you see from him the first, 16 weeks of the season behind the scenes when he wasn't playing? How was his attitude? How did he handle that?
Yeah, I mean, whenever you're put on scout team, it's not the greatest feeling in the world. You can ask anybody, but he kept getting better. On defense, trying to give the guys looks and everything. Special teams, they have to run some scout for us and giving us some good rushes. And we always, portray scout team, special teams that you're working your craft against the guys that'll be playing on Sunday, but don't take that for granted because at a drop of a hat you could be put in there, in which he was. I mean, he kind of got the call late on a Saturday. I talked to him but it was more to him understanding what our game plan was, being in the right position, not flinching, and it showed on Sunday right there with him going down there, making a play, helping out on some punt return, some kickoff return right there. So just seeing, the improvement, just like Coach Sirianni says, we just want to get 1% better every day, and he's thoroughly gotten better week in and week out, and it paid for him in Week 16 in a big game to, help us get to our goal and get a win that Sunday and help get us into the dance right there with the playoff clinch.
Zach and then Mike.
Hey, Michael, from the outside looking in, it seemed the low point in the season was after the Vegas game. You guys were 2-5. The flight home from Vegas that week when Nick gave, the speech about planting the roots. What do you remember about that week in particular and how you guys turned it around that week?
To be honest, I don't even remember who we played against after Vegas.
You played the Lions after Vegas. Played the Lions after Vegas, yeah.
I guess, and just like in anything in life, you're going to have ups and downs. It's going to be a roller coaster, but it all depends on, how you wake up in the morning and you decide how do you want your day to go, how do you want your week to go. And for me personally, for the special teams room, I always try to give off. They're going to play, obviously, off the energy you bring. So the one thing I told Joe P. and Tyler Brown is, regardless of what's happening outside of the room, bring the energy because everyone could feed off a little energy. And I think that's been, the whole motto of everyone is the energy and just being calm, not, losing your mind if things are going bad right there. And it's just a whole thing with our entire team is just a sense of, all right, bad things are going to happen, but how do you respond to it? And I think people have responded outstanding. Obviously, over the last 9 weeks or so, we've gotten ourselves in a good position. We clinched a playoff berth right there, but there's a lot to be done. We still got a game against Dallas left, and we'll see what happens, in terms of the seeding and everything. But I think it's just everyone just growing together and understanding how to respond to some sort of adversity, whether it's one play, 1 week, a bad games here and there. So I think it's just everyone's growing, regardless if you're a 10th-year veteran or a rookie right there.
Go ahead, Mike, and then Dave.
Hey, Mike, we've seen Kenny Gainwell get some more reps as a kick returner. What has he improved upon this season, and what do you think of his vision? I know he can use that on offense and on special teams, but from your standpoint, where is he at with his vision in space?
Yeah, obviously I can't talk offensively in terms of cutting and seeing his vision, but for special teams, with Kenny, he likes to hit the whole downhill, north and south, which is what you really want. You're trying to play that field position game, whether he falls forward to the 27-28. That's better than going left and right, sideways, and everything. But every returner is different. But I think Kenny, he's outside of as a returner, he is willing to do whatever. You've seen him more being a core guy, especially with the running back. Dealing with some injuries with Miles and Jordan and Boston, getting a little more of a workload. But he's one of those guys you can lean on, and he's repping to go. He wants to know, especially on punt return, what he's doing. Kickoff return, obviously, as the returner, but he's always ready to go on kickoff just in case. He'll come up and say, hey, does one guy need one? I'm ready to go right there. So it just shows how good of a teammate he is for a young guy trying to help this team win in any way possible.
Go ahead, Dave.
Mike, do you have any players that you'd consider to be kind of unsung heroes that haven't been getting talked about as much as you think maybe they should be?
that's a good question. Unsung heroes, I think everyone is just committed to help the team in any capacity. I could talk about all 6 units. The field goal unit, outside of maybe one play where a guy blocked it, has been unsung, and it's just for Jake as well. Like, there's nobody around his feet really. There's nobody around him getting through the line, and it's helped his his year so far. And I could go through punt return, kickoff return, so I can't really pinpoint one person. But it's the whole unit that's just kind of bought into what Coach Sirianni says and know your role and be good at your role, and it's just kind of helped us, become that calming factor a little bit if things don't go well. And I'm just very fortunate to have a group like that to coach them and help, get everyone to the same goal which is that's winning week in and week out and having the opportunity to go into the playoffs. And as you guys know, anything can happen really in the playoff run. So I think to answer your question, I can't pinpoint one guy. I think it's just a lot of guys just accepting their roles.